Hello, welcome to the Fifth Star Podcast. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert.
And this is a podcast where we are trying to find our next 5-star rated movie. And when we find that movie, this podcast will be evicted from the internet.
So on this episode, we're reviewing Night Always Comes, which just dropped on Netflix and stars Vanessa Kirby. And she has to raise $25,000 in one night to save her home. So we secretly wrote down what we rated the movie, and we're going to guess what we think each other gave it.
Yep.
Which I think you probably really didn't like this movie, and it's not exactly your type of thing. So I'm going to guess you gave it a 2.0 out of 5 stars.
Woo!
Yeah.
That is low. Okay, I'm going to guess you gave it... You either gave it a 3 or 2.5, I think.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2.5.
Okay. 2.5.
Oh!
So
This is tricky.
So we're going to give our spoiler-free thoughts first, and then we'll reveal our scores.
Yes.
So this is based on a novel. I don't know if you...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So you read a lot of books.
I do.
Yeah. This is based on a novel in 2021 by the same name, Night Always Comes.
Huh. Okay.
So I was curious if you had read
Is
it, but I guess you
different
didn't.
than the movie?
I don't know.
Okay.
You know I don't read, Jamie.
That's true.
I only watch with my eyes. Reading...
I just need to make you lose another bet so I can make you read another book.
Which I did finish. I did finish that bet and
true.
finish Red Rising, which was really good. I enjoyed it.
It was really good.
Yeah. So
Anyway, sorry, we're off topic.
okay.
I think my main thing with this movie was that it felt like it had a lot of potential out of the gate.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the premise.
I would say right at the beginning, I was irritated by how much news and radio and all that stuff was like very, very on the nose. Poverty is like an epidemic in America, and and the homelessness and all that stuff. And I was just like, wow, they're really trying to like shove this down my throat, because it was on the TV and then it was on the car radio, and I was like,
and then she's driving
why
by
is she
people
listening
in
to
tents.
this? Yeah. And it was very like, it was a little bit on the nose for me. But I do think the way they revealed information about her character was done really interestingly. Like there was a lot of stuff we just didn't know about her, and I felt like they introduced pieces really well. Can I say some of the stuff that happened at the beginning?
Yeah,
I think it's all right.
Yeah, if it's part of the main premise, I guess.
Yeah, well, like you find out that she works at like a factory,
mm-hmm.
and then you find out that she also works at a bar, like as a waitress, and then you find out that she also does like escorting on the side, and there's like all these other little shady things that are kind of part of her past, and they slowly reveal that information, I think, in a clever way, because it keeps you interested in who she is and like trying to figure out her motivations, I guess. And then on top of all of that, she has a brother with Down syndrome. So it's like, how do all those things work together? And like, how did she get here?
Yeah.
Well, where did her dad go? Why is her mom like terrible? And, you know, all those things that kind of keep a mystery going. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But I didn't like the ending, so.
Okay. I mean, this is kind of a classic type of, you know, someone is put in a really hard spot, and then, you know, they have to it's kind of a philosophical movie in a way, like a what would you do if your back was against the wall and you had to come up with X amount of money or find something in order to save your whatever, right?
Yeah, how far are you willing to go?
And so, you know, I think with that in mind, you know, I'm kind of watching it and I'm thinking of other movies that I've seen that are like this.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy this one as much as those other ones.
Okay.
Now I wanted to really see it because I love Vanessa Kirby. Like, she is such a great actress. I've really kind of liked her in everything I've seen of her.
Yeah.
But in this movie, I was kind of disappointed by her performance. Like, I thought, especially in the beginning of the movie, she was kind of bad. Like, she was just really overacting, like all her stuff at home. She's just like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? You know, and then like, it just seemed really over the top that I was like, why is she
Interesting.
so on the nose with her performance. But then and might be because like her, like there was nothing really justifying her being that kind of anxious or I guess stressed out that early because nothing had really happened yet.
Well, we knew she was in an insane amount of debt.
Yes, and she had to, she wanted to close on her house. So it's the house she grew up in, and she wanted to be able to stay there because I guess it's getting sold, it's put up on market, and there's another family that's like bidding for it.
Well, and they could lose custody of her brother. So.
Yes, and I think that part, like honestly, to me, the house bit was, I mean, you see the house is falling apart right at the get-go, and so I'm kind of like, I don't know. Do we really care about her keeping this house? Now, it's not revealed till a little bit later that it's kind of her childhood home. And so there's some sentimental value. But what really makes it work and makes it more understandable and relatable is the fact that she needs to keep the house so that she can retain custody of her brother.
Yes.
Right?
I think that's the big reason.
And, to me, even though Vanessa Kirby... I think in the first part of the movie, she's kind of overacting relative to what's actually happened up to that point in the story.
Yeah.
But then as the story continues to progress and she gets put in harder and harder situations, it starts to line up where it was fine kind of the rest of the movie. But I thought what worked really well was the brother. Like he's the guy from Peanut Butter Falcon. Yeah. And he's so good again.
He's so good.
He's so good. Every time I see him, I'm just like, man, he's just a legit great actor. He's played by Zach Gottsagen. And yeah, he just delivers another great performance. But he just kind of for the whole second act is kind of just gone, Yeah. And then thankfully, like he comes back in. Yeah. But I really kind of missed him as a consistent thing throughout the movie.
It seemed like he should have been in it more.
Yeah. And I think because that's really the emotional crux
it is
of what's at stake, right? Like her
and
losing
it's her like save the cat.
Yeah.
Because she isn't very likable.
Yes.
And I felt that too. And that's honestly why I don't think I noticed the acting. Mm-hmm. It was more I was frustrated by her character.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand why she was the way she was,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. She just makes a lot of very questionable decisions.
Yeah.
And I think as her backstory gets unveiled, you start to understand, she comes out of a very tough situation, but also a very toxic life.
Yeah, you get more empathy for her as it goes.
Yeah. There's an element of this movie kind of presents as like this is a thriller. But I think it really is trying to be more of a drama. It's kind of about, and we can talk more about this in spoilers, but it's like her toxic family.
Yeah. And
her relationship with her mom and her toxic past and these toxic male relationships she's had, and it kind of is like really about this woman going through this labyrinth of these predatory men in her life. Yeah, it's almost like a stand-in for that, I think, thematically. So that part was kind of interesting. There are definitely a lot of, just some very like cringe things that really get under your skin.
Yeah.
And I think those scenes are really well done. But yeah, I mean, I think the rest of the cast was actually really good though. The mom, I think she did a good job.
Oh my gosh, the mom was great.
Yeah.
She was so convincing as just like a apathetic mom.
Yeah. And then like her fellow coworker, Cody, played by Stephen James, like he did a really good job, I thought.
Yeah.
He delivers a great performance and
we'll have to talk more about him in spoilers.
Okay. Yeah. But I think they did a great job with his character. And then also shout out to Randall Park. He plays really like against type.
Yeah,
because he's always plays this nice guy or like the funny guy,
just
or
like
nice funny guy,
nerdy, awkward, humorous guy.
Yeah,
and in this, he's not any of those.
Yeah, he's like this skeezy, like
rich man.
Yeah, rich man, and it's like,
that was
whoa.
so shocking.
Yeah,
seeing him appear, I was like, "You're in this movie? What?"
Yeah, but it was great. I mean, I think. In a sense, like as a Asian man, like seeing Asian representation, like that's always exciting. But at the same time, like if you're always getting pigeonholed into like certain roles,
yeah,
or like Asians are always getting pigeonholed in certain roles, like that's not great, even if you get like representation, right?
Yeah.
So even being able to play kind of like off color characters and things like that, it kind of mixes things up. So I thought it was kind of cool and admirable that like Randall like took this role and played it really well, I thought.
I had an interesting thought about this role for Vanessa Kirby because it feels almost like a Charlize Theron move.
Yes.
For her to play like an almost an ugly character.
Yeah.
Almost. She's still definitely very beautiful and like is wearing makeup and everything, but for the most part it seems to be like one of her more grungy roles.
Yeah.
I think the problem is though that because her character just wasn't likable, it didn't really work for her.
Yeah.
It didn't really like sell her as much as like a Charlize Theron move.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Like I wonder though if like Charlize Theron was playing this role and playing that unlikable character, like would we still be able to like, I don't know, connect with her as well? Like
I don't know.
Maybe
it's just, but it feels like because Vanessa Kirby is so beautiful and is usually typecast as just like beautiful characters, this was like an ugly character for her to play.
Yeah.
Which is what Charlize Theron does, right?
Yeah.
She's always playing.
But I almost feel like it hurts her character in terms of the story because part of it is like not really believable. It's like, I don't know, are you really that terrible? Like, I don't know. It just kind of like as she's going through some of these things, it's hard to not see Vanessa Kirby and instead see the character. You know, like like I'm imagining if she was played by like an unknown actress or a lesser known actress, like who would have really been able to be ugly fully. You know, I think it could have felt a little more raw. Whereas this almost doesn't feel as like believable or lived in, that character. Yeah. In a way. I don't know. At least that's kind of how I felt. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I mean, you could be right about that. Maybe I wasn't thinking so much about the acting.
Like, it's almost like Vanessa Kirby seems too prim and proper to believe that she's had this kind of past or is this kind of person.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
I mean, she's stressed in most scenes, but like when she's asking people for help, she's able to like remain very composed. There were some scenes like where she's talking to Randall Park and when she's talking to her coworker Cody, where it's like she's very like poised. So I do see what you're saying. There is like an element of her like her being kind of regal, even though she's white trash or something.
Yeah.
Like,
that's probably it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's like you see those mannerisms like leak out because she's British, right?
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, and her playing Margaret in The Crown she's phenomenal as Margaret. She's so good.
Okay. Because I haven't seen her in The Crown.
Princess Margaret.
Yeah. But I like, for me, in Napoleon, which, you know, a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I thought that movie was actually worked quite well. And it really, like, what makes it work is her performance. Okay. Like, that movie is really so much about her and Joaquin Phoenix and their relationship. Yeah. Okay. And not really just about Napoleon, you know?
Interesting.
And maybe that's one thing that people aren't really like catching.
Yeah. It wasn't advertised that way.
Yeah. So. But she is so good in that movie.
I'll have to see it.
But it works because she has that like duality of but yet still that regal kind of side of her. But in this movie, like she's supposed to be totally stripped of that.
Yeah.
But it does leak out.
She has dignity. She has a lot of dignity. Yes. Yeah. That is true. I didn't think about that. Now, okay, another thing I want to talk about is why is Netflix pushing so many of these types of movies out right now?
Yes, okay. Because just a few months ago, Tyler Perry's Straw was released on Netflix also, which is essentially like the same kind of premise.
The same movie?
It's not a white woman, but it's a black woman who is basically like really up against the wall, like, and has to come up with money to save her apartment and help her kid, and you know, who's having seizures and you know, just like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like they're so similar and they come out like so close to each other.
That's so weird. And then I was thinking the whole time about One of Them Days.
Yes.
Keke Palmer, which obviously that's a comedy, but it's also about them getting evicted.
Yeah.
And them possibly being on the street. And the stakes keep ramping up the more, ways they try to get money.
Yeah.
I like that movie better though.
I also liked Straw much better than this movie.
Dang.
Yeah. Like now, and this is one reason why. In Straw, like she starts like, okay, this thing happens, right? Yeah. It's bad. We understand, okay, like she needs to get money for this, right? But then this other thing happens and it gets worse. And then this other thing happens and then it gets worse. And then this other thing happens and you're like, oh my gosh, right? And then it like settles into like the main plot of the movie.
Oh my gosh.
Which
I don't know if I could watch that.
Yeah, it gets so intense and it's like Taraji Henson just getting like beat down and beat down. But then when you think about this movie in Night Always Comes, like, okay, you have the initial premise set up by Vanessa Kirby, but then that's kind of it. Like, it's like, okay, she needs to save the house and she needs X amount of money. Like, and then you just see her trying to get it.
Yeah, but then she digs a deeper hole.
I mean, she does.
As it goes.
She does, but it's in her trying to get that something worse, it's like she faces obstacles along the way.
Right.
But in Straw,
and it's getting worse and worse.
It's like
and worse.
before she even like starts on that path, it just gets worse and worse and worse before she gets really like set on that path. It just becomes so believable, like her actions and things like that.
Okay.
And you really just feel like so terrible for her. But I don't feel like in this movie it ever gets me to that point until maybe like near the end.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just so stressed in this movie. There's like one part towards the second, third where I really started to be like, I can't watch this anymore. Like, this is too stressful. I can't remember exactly what point it was, but I think like because I'm the type of person who really thinks about the repercussions. And so every time she did something, I immediately thought, oh, these are the consequences of these actions.
Yeah.
And like the more consequences stacked up, the more I was like, this movie is going to end up with her in jail. I was like so certain. I was like, she's going to jail.
Yeah. And I think that's also where the movie started to lose me too. Now, I know that's not what you're saying, but what I'm saying is I was thinking about the repercussions of her actions, and I'm like, why is she doing that? That's so dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, we'll have to talk about this in spoilers, but there is like a plot device that saves her from those consequences.
Yes.
That kind of is just annoying.
Yeah.
And so this director, Benjamin Caron, he also had just directed Sharper for Apple TV from a couple years ago. And that movie actually I thought was better than this movie too.
Interesting.
So he has directed a bunch of episodes for The Crown.
Oh!
Also a few for Andor, which I know you love.
Well, and The Crown is amazing.
Yeah, and which I haven't seen The Crown. But yeah, so he's done like good work. And then Sharper, like it was a solid like thriller noir.
Yeah.
So I was just like really disappointed by this overall. Like I think all these other movies that we've mentioned are better than Night Always Comes, including another kind of what would you do movie called John Q from 2002. It's a Denzel Washington movie. He has to find a way to save his son who is like sick. And it's a classic push come to shove, like how far would you go? And like I don't know, just I haven't rewatched that movie since it came out, but I just remember that movie also just really does a better job of like making you feel that and think about the what would you do.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know, just this movie just didn't really quite do it for me. So
yeah, we'll have to unpack this because I have ideas.
Okay. Well, I'm curious what you gave it, but you guessed I would give it a 2.5 out of 5, and I did give it a 2.5 out of 5. Whoops.
I also gave it a 2.5.
Oh, okay. I thought you would go lower.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
thought.
mean, fair.
Yeah. Because there are some scenes that are so, like, get under your skin.
Yeah,
and
I didn't like those scenes.
Yeah, and so I thought that would like hurt, but I thought that made the movie effective. So
dang, we agree again. What? This keeps happening. Anyway, I feel like this movie started out as like a good 3, maybe even 3.5.
Yes.
Other than the annoying news.
Yeah.
Other than the annoying news things. But I liked the setup of her mom, and her brother. The stakes were set like immediately. And then we were slowly introduced to her character over time. I thought all of that was good. But then as the movie progressed, the lower the score became. Like, it went down to like a 3 around the midpoint, and then I was like at a 2.5 by the end. And it kind of just stayed there for the rest of the movie.
Okay.
And I wasn't actively like thinking that when I watched it. But once I had finished it, I was like, oh, that's where my brain was.
Yeah.
I was like a slow descent throughout the movie.
Okay. Could we get into spoilers?
Yeah.
So the point that kind of really started to lose me was when she steals the safe, which I thought was like the decision to want to steal a safe. Like, I could understand. It felt motivated. I actually thought the scene where she approaches Cody was hilarious. Like, when she's in the car and she's like, "Oh yeah, could you help me break into my safe because I forgot my whatever?" And then he's like, "Why would I know how to break into a safe?" And she's like, "Oh, you know." And she's like,
"You went to jail."
Yeah. No, but like they slow play the fact that he went to jail, and so it's totally like because you're black, obviously, so I'm coming to you, you know. But then, and that's what he's getting at. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, because our boss told me that you just came out of jail." And he's like, "Oh."
But then actually breaking into the safe was insane.
Yeah, like, and then that whole
sequence,
like going to that other guy, and then like they're high and all this stuff. Yeah, and so that all of that was like working, but the whole time I'm just thinking, well, as soon as her friend's boyfriend comes home, the politician. And
they're gonna know that she did it.
They're gonna know that she did it. But even if he can't report that because he's a politician and can't reveal that like he's living with his escort or has this like escort girlfriend or whatever, he can just report to the cops like someone broke into my house and stole the safe, right? And then like kind of give some clues and whatever. Even if she does break into the safe, gets all the money and saves the house, that money's coming right back. Once the cops get, like arrest her, right?
Yeah.
So like, how does that solve her problem?
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. The whole time I was like, she's gonna end up in jail. This like, why does she
still gonna lose her house or lose her brother?
Why does she think she still gets a down payment after everything?
Exactly, and it was so frustrating that it was like, what? I don't know. It was hard to really understand her reasoning. Like, I understand she's desperate.
I don't think she really was thinking at all. I think she was just desperate and
saw the
in
money.
Survival mode, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's still, and then stealing the car. I was like, what is that gonna do?
Well, I kind of understood that in terms of like, oh, she can sell the car, I guess.
Yeah, but like,
but then she just leaves it with the keys, like, or with the door open, like under some overpass, and so. Yeah, like she's obviously making like very questionable decisions.
Yes.
But then when they break into the safe and then find out that there's actually cocaine also in there, and then now she's like, "Oh yeah, he can't come after me because he's a politician and can't reveal that there was cocaine in there." Well, that's really convenient. You didn't know there was cocaine in there when you took the safe. So like that plot armor to me was so frustrating.
That whole scene was so tense. And then her like throwing the thing at it. Oh, I was like, that guy's dead.
Yeah.
She just killed somebody. And that will be, I mean, I don't know if they'll ever report that, but like, again, jail.
Yeah. When you think that he's basically lying on the ground, like dying, bleeding out or whatever, you're just like,
jail.
What? Yeah.
And then when they go to she makes the deal with Cody, like that whole scene driving to the car with the brother in the backseat, and they have that like cute moment, which I thought that scene was so cute.
It was, yeah.
And then all of a sudden they arrive and he attacks her.
Yeah.
And he completely 180s, and I was like, there was no setup for that.
Yeah.
There were no clues to get us there.
Yeah.
Because he was being so helpful up until that point. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he's like, give me the money and the car. Like, wait, what?
But
that scene frustrated me so much.
I thought it was a good twist. Like, you know, the only guy who's been kind of helpful or seems like not a terrible person other than her brother in the movie, it's like, turns out, no, he's just as horrible as like the other men in her life and the other men in the story, you know?
Yeah, but he could have had so many other opportunities to take advantage of her, and he didn't. He like waited until that moment, and it just felt like out of nowhere to me.
Well, but I thought that that's why I think the performance was really good, because
he didn't even know about the car.
Because he seems torn, you know? Like, he seems like, don't make me, I don't want to, like, I have to do this. I'm desperate. And they do a good job of explaining like his situation.
When she told him like, "Hey, help me break into the safe," he was like, "No." Like, he wasn't desperate.
Well, he was on parole, like doesn't want to go back to jail.
Exactly.
Yeah. But he is willing to do it for, like, she offers him 400 and
200, and then he says, "I'll do it for 4."
Yeah, okay. And then it goes up to 800 or something at one point or whatever.
To break into it's 800.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but in any case, like, you know, he's obviously like really needs the money, and that's why, like, the more money's on the table, like, the more he's willing to still risk potentially getting in trouble again, right? And so I think, like, and you know, you find out about like the fact that he's, you know, just out of jail, like he, you know, supposedly, at least says, allegedly, like he was innocent, you know, he got framed or whatever, but
there was no setup for it.
I thought there was at least some kind of motivation for his character about, like, he's desperate enough, there's a lot of money here on the table, and so initially he just wants like a cut of it, right? And then when she starts resisting, then he starts just going like, okay, fine, I'm just like, just give me all of it. And so it escalates for him. Like, it really does seem like he doesn't want to be the bad guy, but he's doing it out of desperation, similar to her. Like, she's also in this position.
But he like created this whole fake deal with her.
Yeah.
Pretending that he was gonna like buy the car from her, traps her with the brother in the car. It just felt so out of nowhere, out of the blue.
Which I think is by design. Like, they were trying to kind of pull the rug out from under you from what we had, you know, known about this character. And I think that's where, to me, there's a lot of things like these kinds of things that happen throughout the story that it just makes the movie overall like not very entertaining, or I don't know, like it just doesn't work well, I think.
It completely undid the previous scene too.
Yeah.
It made the last scene completely meaningless to me. And I think that was also frustrating because it felt like we were building towards like more camaraderie or something, or like more of a message, more of a theme. And then it just blew up.
Yeah.
And there were so many moments like that where I kept thinking, if the brother had been more involved and been more of her like moral compass throughout, it would have been a much more interesting movie. It would have been more like Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yeah.
But like, I think that would have improved it, because it would have just reminded her of like, oh, I can't just be in survival mode because I also have to take care of this other human.
Yeah. So I think that they are doing that after he sees her run the guy over, you know, and then like run away.
Did.
You know, like they show him being like, he doesn't want to talk to her, and he feels like, and he's like, I'm scared of you.
All of the best scenes were between them two.
Yes. So like, I think those are the moments that it kind of like recenters her. But the problem is that she just then goes back off on the deep end, you know? So
it doesn't help.
Yeah. Like, but so I think all these things are just not very good about the movie. But
I almost think like at the end, she should have been like, I don't deserve to take care of you. Like, and she kind of does.
She does, yeah.
She kind of does, but she leaves,
or she accepts
him with the mom. And it doesn't feel like good. It just feels bad. Because the mom
you don't trust them.
The mom is not a good caretaker either.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like, it feels like she abandoned her brother, even though she came to the right conclusion. It's so, it was very confusing.
Yeah, I think the movie does this hard shift tonally where after she comes back, through all of that with the money, then they have this quiet moment between her and the mom is finally like honest with her and is like, I don't want the house.
After all of that.
Yeah, and then like, Vanessa Kirby's character is like, oh yeah, why did you just tell me that? You're going to save me a lot of trouble, right? And she just kind of like accepts it. But I think it's in that like heart, they finally have this heart to heart, unpack the past, that it makes them be able to like kind of connect, and it makes her able to like accept, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna move on with my life and I need to take care of myself, right? And so in the end, when she's driving away, it's meant to seem in a way hopeful, like, oh, she's kind of now set on this journey of like growth.
But it didn't feel that way.
Yeah. But I guess it's not, yeah, I do feel like it's not very effective emotionally. Like, I don't think emotionally.
You're right, though. It did switch from like kind of a thriller to suddenly drama. It like starts as drama, comes thriller, and then ends with the drama.
Yeah.
And I feel like the beats are very like jarring.
Yes. And that's what made me think, like, is this really just meant to be a drama, right? And the thriller stuff is just kind of like a side quest kind of thing, but really it's meant to be a drama. And in that sense, like, there is a lot of dramatic scenes between like her and Tommy, her former like boyfriend / pimp, right? Like, those are kind of like intense, revealing scenes.
I thought that was weird to leave you with at the very end.
Like, they should have revealed it earlier.
Maybe it was just like suddenly. So she's going through all of this stuff, like with possibly killing a guy and then running a guy over, and then suddenly at the end, you have her dealing with like this trauma from the past.
Yeah,
and it feels very disconnected from the rest of the story.
Yeah. But that's actually the part of the movie that I think kind of saved the movie for me from being like a lower score. I think the movie is not a very well-made movie. But the thing that makes this movie somewhat kind of potentially interesting is these kinds of themes that come up consistently. And are kind of revealed more at the end.
Yeah.
But it really becomes about her and all these toxic relationships around her. So then thematically, it starts to kind of make more sense. But especially like in terms of men, like this whole thing with Eli Roth when she goes to the house to get money, and then he starts to like basically like sexually harass her. It was like such a terrible, like it's such a hard scene to sit through. Because it's so like it gets under your skin so much, and this is like me watching as a man,
Yeah.
I can't imagine as like a woman watching that scene. Again, it kind of like speaks to that theme of her, that guy Tommy, Cody, like all these people, like the father that's abandoned them and like left them in this terrible situation. This is, at least as a drama, kind of interesting,
Huh.
And that's where I'm like kind of curious, like, is the book more of a drama? And then when they made the movie, they were like, oh, we gotta like turn it into like a thriller.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Because then I can see like maybe the book kind of actually being somewhat compelling.
I guess so.
Like raising some questions and yeah. So I don't know, that part of the movie I thought was like, I find it somewhat interesting in terms of like like, what do you do when you're stuck in all this, like a toxic past? You've been put in this situation because of the toxic situations and your family situation and relationships and all these things that brought you to this point. What other kind of resources do you have internally or externally to be able to like break out of these situations?
Yeah, I think that is hard for me. Like, I don't really like movies where there are no likable characters.
Yeah.
And the only likable character in this movie, I guess, was her brother.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really have a hard time enjoying movies. That's not to say that they're bad if they don't have any likable characters. It's just like my personal enjoyment of the movie kind of requires that I can at least like one character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, enough to like get through the plot. And I feel like so much of this movie, it just kept disappointing me because we just kept meeting despicable human beings and like kept getting disappointed over and over and over again. And I get that that's like kind of what the character is going through as well, where it's just like, oh wow, everyone I'm surrounded by is just toxic and she's toxic because of it. And so like her leaving is the best option, but it's hard for me to watch those movies and find any enjoyment is what I'm trying to say.
Did you have empathy for her, you think?
Yeah, I did. Okay. I had empathy for her because like we got so much of her trauma, you know, seeded throughout the story. And that really makes you feel for her. But at the same time, the whole movie, you're frustrated by every action she makes.
Yeah.
And so it makes it difficult to like sit through, I guess.
Yeah. And then to, you know, rub it in, like when she's at her friend's place, there's like a little sticky note that says, you control your choices.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, you do. And you're not making great choices.
You're making pretty terrible choices.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What would you do if you had to save your home and it was the only way to retain custody of your brother that needed you? And
oh, gosh. It's hard. It's hard for me to even put myself in her shoes because I am surrounded by non-toxic people, I would say. And so I have a lot of...
you would have people you can go to.
I have a network of people that I could ask for help. And I think her being so isolated in such a terrible community really makes it impossible for her not to do the terrible things that she did.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, she didn't have to do any of it because the mom was like, I don't even want the house. So the whole movie was a waste of time.
Yeah. And that was another annoying thing, was just like the whole situation. They had the money, but the whole situation happens because the mom decides to just buy a car.
Oh.
Like this. It's like, oh my gosh. But the reality is that there are, and I think this is why
she's broken. She's broken.
I think this is why, even though I agree with you that there was like too much heavy exposition in the beginning, it is important exposition because it does remind you there are some people who are, like many people who are just stuck in these situations and they don't have a way out.
Yeah.
And it really is like what else can they do?
What would you do?
Yeah.
If you've heard how people who are addicted to drugs, they cannot function without drugs because their brains get rewired.
Yeah.
And I think that just shows how, you know, desperation is realistic. Desperation is incredibly realistic for humanity. And not to say she was addicted to drugs, but like she was just desperate.
Yeah.
For a way to save what she believed was her life.
Yeah. Overall, would not recommend this movie.
No.
But instead, I would recommend Straw.
There we go. So, what'd you give
watch
Straw?
That instead. I was between a 3.5 and a 4.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's high, considering the Rotten Tomatoes score.
It was. I don't know what the Rotten Tomato score was, but man,
I think it was 65 or something, 69.
I mean, that's a fair, you know, okay. I think that's fair. But Tyler Perry, I thought did a great job with the movie. There are clunky parts.
Okay.
And so that's part of where it's not like I can enthusiastically give it a strong 4.0. It's just a much smarter movie. I'll just say that.
I would recommend One of Them Days. It's completely different because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. It's just a fun movie.
Yeah.
So that's our review. We're settling at a 2.5 each. Let us know what you think. And you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, or Apple Podcasts.
And you can join us next week as we continue our quest for the 5th star.